Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Dr. Tricia Ciccone at Central Kentucky Optometric Associates for our eye care news. And May is UV Ray Awareness Month. Because you need to be aware that it can affect your skin, obviously. People know all that kind of stuff with suntans, but also your eyes. It's very important to protect them.
Yeah, when we go out in the sun, most of us know to either cover up or to put sunscreen on. But one of the things you forget about, because if you put sunscreen on your eyes, it stings. Most people don't put sunscreen on their eyes, and it can affect the skin on your eyelids, causing premature aging, and also skin cancer is one of the most common type of skin cancers. Occurs on your eyelids, and it's basal cell carcinoma. You still can get squamous cell and melanoma on your eyelids and in your conjunctiva and around your eyes too. So, but people don't think about that when they think about their eyes. So, but just like the tip of your nose and the top of your ears, the eyelids is one of the most common places to find skin cancers.
Really?
And basal cell carcinoma is the number one found there. So everybody needs to protect their eyes. Other eye diseases can occur more readily or more prematurely in folks that have suffered significant UV protection or exposure. Also, cataracts is a big one. We know that exposure to ultraviolet light accelerates formation of cataracts. Macular degeneration is another big one. We know that one of the major risk factors for development of macular degeneration, other than smoking and genetics, is exposure to sunlight too. So, so skin cancers, cataracts, macular degeneration, those are three biggies that that can be either accelerated or been brought on by exposure to ultraviolet rays.
So what can you do to help prevent the problem?
Well, what you want to do is block your exposure to ultraviolet rays, and so far we haven't come up with a sunscreen or an eye drop that you could just drop into your eyes to protect your eyelids and your ocular surface and even the lights entering into your eyes. So the best thing to do is to get yourself a good pair of sunglasses. It doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive pair, but you have to know that those sunglasses have the FDA approved ultraviolet protection built into them. You can get all different color styles or different styles. You want, if you're an active person, you want to make sure your lenses are impact resistant and made of a material that's going to keep you safe that way. And you can pick tint colors. You can get polarized lenses that help cut out glare off of horizontal surfaces. But the number one most important thing that your sunglasses should have is built-in UV protection. You have to be careful with that, because if you go to a flea market and get a counterfeit pair of sunglasses, they might not have that protection on there, and you could be actually exposing yourself to more damage.
Now, when we talk about like lotions for blocking, you have SPF and different levels for SPF. Is UV? It's either is UV rated or it's not, or are there certain levels they have to worry about?
It's rated in the fact that you can't get the gradient, but the FDA. Is to be labeled sunglass, whether they be prescription or non-prescription. You have to have a filter of 99% of the ultraviolet rays.
Okay, so look out for that on the
look for that label and make sure that it is a viable or a label where it's actually made by the company or wherever you get your sunglasses from, or whoever's manufactured sunglasses, because you can have counterfeit labels. If you go to alternative sources to purchase your. And
you do have sunglasses for sale here as well, whether it be prescription lenses or just if somebody wants to come in and get some, correct?
Yes, we've made it a point to really have a wide variety of sunglasses available and sunglasses styles. For the active people, we can start from scratch with a basic frame and put your prescription. We can build it into a frame that's actually built designed for certain types of activities there. We can custom make your tint. We can custom polarize. We can custom put mirrors on them. We can really customize your sunglasses to fit your needs and what you're going to do with your sunglasses. Something that a lot of parents don't really keep in mind too, that is our children. We really need to be protecting our children. Most of us receive 80% of our lifetime exposure to damaging UV rays by the time we're 18 years old. You know, as we get adults, we start to work
go inside.
and we go inside. We're inside more when we are outside. We're wearing the wide-brimmed hats and we're using the sunscreen, and we're hopefully all wearing sunglasses. But our kids, you know, they're out hopefully outside more than playing video games.
Right.
And they're getting exposed just like when we did. You know, if you can remember back to when you were growing up, we didn't have sunscreen. You know, you went out and you got that sunburn, and then you put the wet T-shirt on.
Exactly. Went from there.
Went from there, and then you got
nice
your
color the rest
tan,
of it. Exactly.
But not so much anymore. That's not recommended anymore.
And for babies too, I know there are even glasses for infants.
There are, and we're looking at a line right now that we're going to carry. It's a real soft, flexible, soft frame. We've actually got the ophthalmic brand in. We were looking at them last week, and we think we're going to start carrying them for babies too, and babies and small kids, and then of course we have other ones for lids for a little bit older kids. Even Oakley has a new frame out. It's called the 3/4 jacket, and I've got that for my younger son, and it's an Oakley, and it's a nice sunglass. It's not terribly, you know, it's not over the top expensive, but it fits him well. You know, it's meant for kids and small adults, women, you know, women with small heads, and that's a nice addition to what we're offering.
So it's for all ages, even when you get older, you need to have this.
All ages, all throughout our lifetime.
Okay. And when we talked before we started recording, we were saying there are different kinds of UV rays too that you're talking about, because we're talking about exposure from the sun, but also there are some people who in their work environment may have exposure to a different kind of UV than the sun.
Yeah, like
right?
welders get exposed to infrared light, so they need to make sure when they're welding, or even if they're not welding, but someone in this vicinity or in the same room or in the same part of the plant that they're welding at is welding, they still need to protect, because they can't see those rays, those infrared rays that come in. Welding flash is very, very similar to sunburn, only it's the non-visible infrared rays that cause the damage, as opposed to the blue end of the spectrum, the UV lights that comes from the sun, that causes the damage there.
How can you tell if you're having an issue with the UV exposure?
Well, you can have solar keratitis. It behaves again very much like welding flash. You feel fine when you're out in the sun, and 4 to 5 to 6 hours later, your eyes start watering. They get real light sensitive. They start burning, and they're watering. Just like when you get a sunburn, you don't know you're getting sunburn and don't feel it while it's happening, but later on that night, boy, you sure do feel it. It's the same with solar keratitis. And also, tanning beds is another place. Make sure you wear your eye protection when you're in that tanning bed. I'm not going to recommend anybody use a tanning bed. It's just tanning beds, they're not safe, and they do studies show that you'll have a higher incidence of risk of skin cancer from a tanning bed. So my recommendation is stay out of them.
Right. But if you're
going to go in one, make sure you put your eye protection on.
Right. Is it irreversible? If you do have an issue that occurs,
some of the damage is irreversible. Well, if you get a cataract, you can take the cataract out, but you can't make the cataract go away.
Right.
Macular degeneration is irreversible. You can't. Once you got it, you got it. Once that process is started, it's really hard to stop and slow it down. We do have some diet supplements that are showing to be somewhat helpful in slowing down the progression of macular degeneration. But when the damage is done, you can have had sun exposure and 50, 40, 30 years later develop the skin cancer from sun exposure that you had when you were a child.
It takes some time.
So it's additive and it's progressive, and once you've been damaged, you've been damaged. You can't undo it.
Again, I'm talking with Dr. Saccone, who's with Central Kentucky Optometric Associates, and they have offices in Lebanon and Springfield. You can set up an appointment and get your eyes checked too, to see if there are some issues going on with this, and also to get your eye protection, because it is available as well.
Through the month of May, we're going to be offering, we normally always give a discount on our sunglasses anyhow, but we're going to up that during the month of May and put it at 25%. So,
okay, great.
Prescription or non, and just we just want everybody to get protected.
And stop in, because there are a lot of nice brands too.
Yeah, we carry a wide variety.
Okay, so Central Kentucky Optometric Associates in Lebanon and Springfield. Remember, May is Ultraviolet Ray Protection Awareness Month, so make sure you're protecting your eyes and all around your eyes as well.
Yes, absolutely. A wide brim hat, a pair of sunglasses, and your sunscreen.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right. This has been Gary White for Eye Care News here on Central Kentucky Television.